Okay, today we're making macaroni and cheese. And you would think that to make macaroni and cheese, you just throw some cheese in with the macaroni and let it melt. But if you do that, you're going to end up with big clumps of cheese melted into the noodles, and it just doesn't work. So the way you get around that problem is first we make a bechamel sauce. A bechamel sauce is one of the 5 French mother sauces, and it's really simple. It's just equal parts flour and fat, and then you add enough milk to get the consistency that you want. And then once your bechamel sauce is done, you add the cheese and you beat the cheese in, and then it becomes a Mornay sauce. And when the Mornay sauce is done and the noodles are cooked, then you just pour the Mornay sauce over and stir it up. And at that point, you've got basically macaroni and cheese. Now, what we're going to use today is the milk, 3 cups of milk. We're going to use, again, equal parts fat, which will be butter in this case. So here we're using 4 tablespoons of butter, and we're going to use 4 tablespoons of flour, which is equal to a half a cup. And then we've got our noodles. We've got 1 pound of noodles. And our cheese, we've got grated cheese, and we've got 3/4 of a cup of cheese. And then we'd like to add some other things just to add flavor and make it a little more interesting. So we've got a bunch of green onions that we sliced. We're going to throw those in. We've got a half a pound of diced ham. And then we've got some jalapeno peppers. And we're going to put those and mix them all together. Then also, we've got breadcrumbs. We have, as I said here, we've got 4 tablespoons of butter for the sauce. Then we've got another tablespoon of butter that we're going to use to grease the pan that we put it in, and another tablespoon of butter that we're going to brown the breadcrumbs in. So let's go to the stove and we'll start making the sauce and put it all together. Okay, so now we're going to start the noodles. I'm going to salt the water. Generous amount of salt. And then the noodles will go in, and those will cook for about 10 minutes. And we'll start the bechamel sauce with the 4 tablespoons of butter. And we'll add the flour in. And we just want to cook this a couple of minutes just to get the raw taste off of the flour. We don't want to brown the roux, but just enough to get the raw flavor off. Now I'm going to add the milk. Just about 1/3 of it to start with. Continue to stir it. And I'm going to, as long as I keep stirring, I'm going to turn the heat up on high so that I can get the sauce thickened as quickly as possible. Now, meanwhile, I'm going to start making my breadcrumbs. So just put that on low heat. And put a tablespoon of butter in there. I'll add the breadcrumbs. Into the bowl. Okay, so I think the bechamel sauce now is about as thick as it's going to get. Again, it's probably been 10 minutes now that I've been doing this. So now I'm going to start gradually adding the cheese. You can see you just stir that in and the cheese now is melting nicely. I'm going to turn the heat off under it. Okay, so I'm going to go over now and pour this over the noodles. Actually, I'm going to let it cool just a minute. First, I'm going to add the ham, the green onions, and the jalapeno peppers. And how many jalapeno peppers you put in is really up to you. They add a little bit of spice. If you don't like the spice, then you don't add them. And then our cheese sauce just goes on top of that. And it looks like a lot of sauce. But the noodles will soak it up. Back and see how our breadcrumbs are doing. So I think that's done, and then all it's left to do is to put it into a dish, and we'll use a little bit of butter. And we'd like to put it in several small dishes because then you can just pull it out and have enough for a couple of people for dinner. Put it in the freezer and then it freezes nicely and comes out. But if you want to make a big pan, that's fine too. And so we'll just scoop that up. Oops, don't mind the mess. Looks good about like that. We'll add a few breadcrumbs over the top. Okay, then this is going to go in the oven at 350 degrees. It'll take about 30 minutes. If it's in a smaller pan like this, it might go faster. But once it's bubbling and brown is on the top, it's brown on the top, you can pull it out and it's ready to go.
Smells good. Lauren, this recipe is for you.